Hello guys, welcome to the episode 27 of this series of tutorials on creating the web API and consuming it with MVC in ASP.NET Core 3.1. I shall continue to upload one episode every day. I shall walk through creating the customer controller with the index action method in this lecture. And since these episodes and the code base are built in continuation from the previous ones, I strongly suggest you to go through each of them before viewing this one. Now there are plenty of useful takeaways if you view the tutorials through to the end, and plenty of things to learn as well as interact as comments. Finally, a request to subscribe to the channel and share it with the like-minded. So accordingly, we have this learning outcome, the customer controller and the index action method in the controller. That will be ending by this session. So let's switch over to Visual Studio now. So on the Visual Studio, I'll have to right click the controllers folder and add controller so MVC controller empty. I'll go for the empty controller. So add MVC controller empty. So I will give it a name, customer controller. Okay, so this public class customer controller, it is derived from controller base. So public I action result index. Now I will make it an async task. This is asynchronous programming and task on I action result. And task on I action result, and call this is index method, index action method, and returns a view. Right. Now I have to write this action method. At the moment, let's comment this out. Now I'll have to start with the list of customer, generic list of customer. Now in order to take customer, I'll have to get the models folder. Okay, so click on potential fix. It will automatically use the using statement. Okay, so using web API consume.models. So this has been added. Okay, so list of customer, and I will call this, either customers is all right, but I will call this customer list. Is new list of customer. So customer list is an object of customer type, of list of customer type rather. Okay, so using statement now, again using this will be a variable HTTP client. So for this controller, I'll have to use the HTTP client class, var HTTP client equals new HTTP client. And for that, I'll have to use another namespace, and I'll get it from this light bulb icon. So this is system.net.http. Okay, this has the HTTP client type within this library. So within the using statement, outside the using statement, I'll use another. So this outer using statement will get an HTTP client object, which is now being used within an inner using statement where variable response, and I will explain everything. Await on this HTTP client. I'll make use of this HTTP client that I have created above. Dot, there is a method called getAsync, and this method gets the response asynchronously from the web API. Okay, so the web API URL is, so how did I get the web API URL? So I have got the SSL, the HTTPS, as well as without the HTTPS. There is a secure HTTPS and with the enable SSL. So let me use this one. So I got it from right clicking the web API project and clicking on properties. So this is the web API project properties. I got this. So enable SSL, and there is another way of getting this web API from the properties and launch settings.json, which also gives both the HTTP as well as HTTPS. The SSL port 44395, and without the SSL this is 51334. Let's use this port. Okay, so now let's get back to work again. So https ://localhost : 44395 /API and then customer. Okay, customer, and then following the using statement is a pair of curly braces, and then I will initialize another variable string API response. Now this will suggest that this is a response from the API. API response equals, now await response, that is the response from the API, dot content. There is a content property, sets the content of a HTTP response message. Dot read as, there is a read as string async. Okay. So this will read the API response asynchronously and write it to the API response string. And then customer list will be the list of customers that I initialized. Will actually deserialize this object, with the usage of JSON convert. So JSON convert. Now for this JSON convert, I need to use a namespace newtonsoft.json, which we have already installed as a NuGet package. So JSON convert dot deserialize object. Okay, it deserializes the JSON to the specified .NET type. Okay, so it deserializes the JSON back to the object. So serialization is to convert an object of any type to JSON, and deserialize the opposite process, the reverse of serialization. So this is the list of customer. Deserialize the object to become list of customer, and this, what it will be deserializing, the API response. Okay, so API response string, it will be deserializing to get the customer back. Okay, so now let's come out of this outside using statement and then return view. Now instead of return view empty, I will return view the customer list. Okay, so that's it. get rid of this, indent it a little. And then build the application with Ctrl+Shift+B. Now build succeeded. So I have had the index action method of the customer controller already in place, and in the next lecture we'll be building the view for this index. So in this lecture we have created the customer controller and put the index action method in this and build the application.